Right. So today we talk about the nature of your unformed being and little games we play just to uh, realize these things intuitively when someone explains it to us. Now, I call this video Hallucinating with Amen. Basically, um, the Hebrews or Israelites of old times spent 400 years in Egypt, according to their story. And if you spend 400 years in a place, your mannerisms, your expressions, those are all going to be from that place. As you can see, I've spent shitloads of time in the UK, but I'm an African. But I don't really sound like most Africans. My expression of language and my mannerisms have all become akin to those who live in this land. And so if you're going to spend 400 years somewhere, you're going to start, the environment you're in, the catchment you're in, will alter you. And you start to be, if you're an Israelite in Egypt, you start to be more Egyptian. If you was to ask the African Americans, or I like to call them the American Negroid, because obviously there's Pacific Negroid and African Negroid, but these guys have been living in America for so long that they are actually a man. An American Negroid, has formed. And there's also American Caucasioids who have formed. Those are those of European descent in America. But anyway, I'm sidetracking. So these guys have spent so much time using the term God to describe the deity, the Almighty, that they, even when they come up with new religions, they still say, well, God is this, our God is this, our God is that. So the Jews used to say, Amen is this, Amen is that, because that's what they used to call God, Amen. They even end their prayer with Amen. So they took it for granted that they were using Amen, and they never really thought twice about it or saw it as being odd. Even when they came to defining a God, they still used Amen. So God is just a new way of saying Amen. But so it's the creator. Yeah. So basically, hallucinating with Amen is basically when you look at the sun for 1 to 2 seconds, 1 second, because you don't want to go blind, and then you close your eyes and you look somewhere else. Yeah. You will still see an image of that sun in your eyes, in your thoughts, and wherever you look, you see it just briefly for maybe a second or 2 or 3, even sometimes up to 5 seconds. You look at the sun real quick, close your eyes real quick, and look somewhere else. You see the sun projected as if it's projected onto reality. It's actually a hallucination of what you've just seen. Yeah. So this phenomenon happens to us. Yeah, I can't speak for animals, but it probably happens in them too. If you look at something shining that's reflecting a very shiny light, or a shiny light itself, and you look away for a brief moment, 1 to 5 seconds, you still see that image wherever you look. You could try it. Look at the sun real quick, close your eyes, look somewhere else. The sun is still in your thoughts, in your eyes, and you still believe it's where you look. You still see a fainted version of it. You still see it. So this is how hallucinations work. You look at something, and when you look somewhere else, it's there. Yeah, but you know that the reason why it's there is because you looked at the sun. Yeah. Now this teaches us so many things about the way our consciousness works. And that's what I believe, that when we look at nature, we're not describing nature, we're describing how our consciousness works. Okay, your consciousness is the one who gives the arbitrary form to things. When you sense a very heavy light, you start to map it in your consciousness, and that's how the sun forms. Yeah. When you sense something really heavy, like gravity from a source of a heavy object, you start to approximate what it looks like in your consciousness, and that's how the object formed. If you want for your consciousness, this would just be random blobs of energy. Yeah, that's all they will be. Yeah, so when you start to investigate what the sun's made of, you're actually investigating what your consciousness has formed. Yeah, because we're surrounded by energy, and everything is just completely energy. It's just our consciousness, when it looks, it forms things. Yeah, and hallucination lets you know exactly how that process is done. Yeah, now you could try hallucinating with Amun to see what's going on. Because what I used to do, I used to get confused, because I would look at something and then look at something else, and I've completely moved on to something else, but the image of what I look like is still in my consciousness, if you like. So I used to think that, the fact that that image is still there, it means that somebody's playing it. Somebody's playing that image in my mind after I've moved on to something else. Yeah, but I've come to realize that that's just the nature of consciousness. Well, the conscious subconscious interface or relationship. Yeah, so when you think something, then move on to a different thought, if the previous thought is still residual in your mind, that's your consciousness tracking you. Yeah, it's the same way as when you look at that, you look away, you look somewhere else, your subconscious is still playing what you looked at before, still getting accustomed to that, still trying to figure out what to do with that. And you command yourself. Sometimes your consciousness commands your subconscious, and sometimes your subconscious commands your consciousness. Yeah, and this is the complex resonance that you are. It's a resonance that has a higher frequency or lower frequency resonance within it. Yeah, there's the resonance that is your consciousness, and then there's the resonance that is your subconsciousness, and together this is what you are. Yeah, so but this doesn't mean that people do not view what I've just viewed. Yeah, to those who are viewing my mind, my thoughts, when I look at the sun, yeah, and I look away, they're fixated on what my subconscious is looking at, and they see a blinding light. Yeah, for a few moments. And then if I'm standing in a crowd of people and I look briefly at the sun, and I look away, and I have the hallucination of the sun, after 2 or 3 seconds after that, you start to hear as if people are agitated. They're like, stop doing that. Yeah, like what I'm looking at is in their mind. You see, when they react to what you are experiencing, that's how you know that they're seeing what you're experiencing. So for some reason, they can see what our subconscious is learning. Yeah, I haven't figured it out yet. For that to happen, this will mean that their resonance, their conscious resonance, somehow resonates within your conscious resonance. So it's like you have your resonance, and then within that, they fit into that, and then they realize what you're realizing just a few moments after you've realized it. Yeah. So you could try hallucinating with Ra, Amun, just to test this. Yeah. You look at the sun briefly, you look away, you expect the hallucination of the sun to happen, and then you listen out to those in your surroundings to see if they get agitated. It could be coincidence. You do it 2, 3, 4 times. If you get the same reaction, then you know that there is some kind of natural law here. Yeah, and that's all I wanted to add.